Claire shook off her panic and lunged for the van door. She bailed out. The van had plowed into the rear of another car, parked along the side, and car alarms were going off. She felt dizzy and almost fell, then heard Monica yelling furiously behind her. That pulled her together, fast. She began running. This part of downtown was mostly deserted. Shops closed, only few pedestrians on the street. None of them would look at her at all. "Help!" she yelled and waved her arms. "Help me, please!" They all just kept walking, as if she were invisible. She stopped for a second in horror, and then pelted around the corner and skidded to a stop. A church! She hadn't seen a single one the entire time she'd been in Morganville. And there one was. It wasn't a big one. A modest white building with a small-sized steeple, no cross on it, but it was unmistakably a church. She darted across the street, up the stairs, and hit the doors at a run. She bounced off. They were locked. "No!" she yelled and rattled the doors. "No, come on, please!" The sign on the door said that the church was open from sundown to midnight. What the hell? Shouldn't dare think too much. She jumped off the steps and ran around the side, then the back. Next to the dumpster there was a back door with a glass window in it. It was locked too. She reached around and found a broken piece of wood and swung it like a baseball bat. Crash. She scraped her arm, reaching through the broken window for the lock. But she made it, and slammed the door behind her. She locked it, frantically looking around, and found a piece of black poster board to prop against the blank space where the window had been. Hopefully it would pass a quick glance. She backed away, sweating, aching now from the crash and the run, and turned to go into the chapel. It was unmistakably a chapel, with abstract stained glass windows, and long rows of gleaming wood pews. But there was no cross, no crucifix, no symbol of any kind. The ultimate Unitarian church, she guessed. At least it was empty. Claire sank down on a pew midway back through the sanctuary, and then stretched full length on the red velvet padding. Her heart was beating fast, so fast, and she was still so very scared. Nobody knew where she was, and if she tried to leave, Monica might. They were going to burn me alive. She shivered and wiped tears from her cheeks, and tried to think of something she could do to get out of this. Maybe there was a phone. She could call Eve, or Shane. Both of them, she decided. Eve for the car, Shane for the bodyguard duty. Poor Shane, he was right. She really ought to stop calling him every time she needed brute strength. Didn't seem fair somehow. Claire froze, unable to breathe, as she heard a soft noise in the chapel, like fabric moving, a bare whisper. Maybe just a curtain moving in the air-conditioning breeze, right? Or, "Hello," said a very pale woman, leaning over the pew and looking down at her. "You would be Claire, I believe." Once the paralyzing terror receded just a little, Claire finally placed her. She knew she'd seen her. It had been just a split-second glance, but this was the woman, the vampire who had been brought to common grounds in a limousine after closing time. What was she doing in a church? Claire slowly sat up, unable to take her eyes off the woman, who was smiling slightly. Light flitted softly from the stained glass windows and gave her a golden glow. "I followed you," the woman said, "although in truth I do like this church quite a bit. Very peaceful, don't you think? A sacred place, and one that grants those within it a certain immunity from danger." Claire licked her lips and stated salt from sweat and tears. "You mean you won't kill me here?" The smile stayed intact. If anything, it widened a little. "I mean exactly that, my dear. The same goes for my guards, of course. I assure you they are present. I am never left alone. It is part of the curse of the position I hold." She smiled and tilted her head in elegant fraction. Everything about her was elegant, from the shining golden crown of her hair to the clothes she was wearing. Claire wasn't much for noticing fashion, unless it was worn by girls kicking the crap out of her. But this outfit looked like something out of old formal photographs from her mother's time, or grandmother's. "My name is Amelie," the woman continued. You are, in a sense, already acquainted with me, although you might not be aware of it. Please, child, don't look so frightened. I absolutely assure you that no harm will come to you with me. I always give very clear warning before I do anything violent." Claire had no idea how to look, any less frightened, but she clasped her hands in her lap to stop them from shaking. Amelia sighed. "You are very new to our town, but I have rarely seen anyone disturb quite so many hornets in such a short time. First Monica, then Brandon, and then I hear you turn to my dear Oliver for advice. And now I see you running for your life through my streets. Well, I find you interesting. I find myself wondering about you, Claire, about who you are, why you are." "I'm nobody," Claire said. "I'm leaving town. My parents are taking me out of school." It suddenly seemed like a really good idea. Not so much running away as threatening. "Are they? Well, we'll see." Amelia made a shrug. Seemed like a foreign gesture. "Do you know who I am?" "Somebody important." "Yes, somebody very important." Amelia's eyes were steady in the dim light, of no real color. Gray, maybe, or blue? It wasn't color that made them powerful. "I am the oldest vampire in the world, my dear. In a certain sense, I am the only vampire who matters." She said it without any particular sense of pride, although others may have differing opinions, of course. But they would be sadly and fatally wrong. I don't understand." "No, I do not expect you to." Amelia leant forward and put lean, elegant white hands on the wooden pew in front of her, then rested her pointed chin on top of them. "Somehow you have become mixed up in our search for the book. I believe you know the one I mean." Yes." No way was she going to confess what she had sitting at home. She made that mistake once already. I know about all the vampires." I know about all the vampires," Amelia supplied helpfully. "It's not a secret, my dear. Vampires looking for it. And you just happened to stumble into the operation at the library, in which we were combing through volumes to find it." "Does it belong to you?" "In a way. Let's say that it belongs to me as much as it belongs to anyone alive today. If I am, strictly speaking, living. The old word was undead. You know, but aren't all things undead? I just like imprecision. I think we may have that in common, young lady." Amelia tilted her head a little to the side. Claire was reminded with a chill of a nature film. A praying mantis studying its food to be. "Vampire is such an old word. I believe I shall commission the university to find another term. A more, what is the new saying? User-friendly term for what we are." What do you want?" Claire blurted, and then ridiculously sorry, because she knew it sounded rude. And however scary this vampire, or whatever it might be, she hadn't been rude. "That's quite all right. You're under a great deal of stress. I shall forgive your breach of manners. What I want is just the truth, child. I want to know what you have found out about the book." "I am nothing." There was a long silence. In it Claire heard distant noises, somebody talking on the front door of the church. "That's unfortunate. I had hoped I would be able to help you. It appears that I cannot." That's it? That's all?" "Yes, I'm afraid it is." Amelia sat back again, hands folded in her lap. "You may go the way you came. I wish you luck, my dear. You are going to need it. Unfortunately, mortal life is a very fragile and very short. Yours could be shorter than usual. But I can't help you if you have nothing to offer me. There are rules to life in Morganville. I can't simply adopt strays because they seem winsome. Farewell, little Claire. Godspeed." Claire had no idea what winsome meant, but she got the message. Whatever door had opened, whether it led to good things or bad, had slammed shut on her now. She stood up, wondering what to say, and decided that saying nothing might be the very thing. She heard the back door crash open. "Oh, crap," she whispered. Amelia looked at her in reproach. "Sorry, we are in a house of worship. Really, did no one teach your generation any sort of manners?" Claire ducked behind a pew. She heard fast footsteps and Monica's voice. "Ma'am, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were, but I am." Morel, aren't you? Sorry. But I am, Amelia said coolly. Morel, aren't you? I can never keep any of you straight. Monica. How charming. Amelia's voice changed from cool to ice cold. I'll have to ask you to leave. Miss Morel, you do not belong here. My seal is on this place. You know the rules. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't think. Often the case, I suspect. Go. But there's this girl. Did she... Amelia's voice turned to a hiss like sleet on a frozen window. Are you questioning me? No, so sorry, Mom. It won't happen again. I'm sorry. Monica's voice was fading. She was backing away down the hall. Claire stayed where she was, trembling.